Welcome to the Vibrant Health Podcast with your hosts, Lydia Shatney and Jessica Espinoza. Lydia is a nutritional therapist and founder of Divine Health from the Inside Out. Jessica is a real food wellness educator and founder of the website, deliciousobsessions.com. Since this is a health-related podcast, it should be noted that the hosts are not licensed medical professionals. The information and advice provided in this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or prescribe for any illness or health issue and should not be construed as medical advice. And now, here are the hosts of Vibrant Health Podcast, Lydia Shatney and Jessica Espinoza.
Hi everyone, Jessica here. Quick note about today's episode. We were having some technical difficulties while we were recording, and we have some echoing that has shown up in our final recording here. So if you notice that, we are aware of it. We apologize for the annoyance of it, but the content was good and we still wanted to share it and didn't have time to re-record it. So we are working on trying to get these fixed so you'll have a better quality recording in the future. Thanks for listening. Let us know if you have any questions.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode number 17 of the Vibrant Health Podcast. I am Jessica from deliciousobsessions.com and I'm here with my co-host Lydia of Divine Health from the InsideOut.com. Today we are going to talk about magnesium. Magnesium is such an amazing mineral, and it's one that you probably hear a lot about. It seems like almost every day when I'm on Facebook, I'm seeing multiple articles on magnesium and how critical it is to our health. So we decided that this was an important topic for us to cover, especially because we've got something fun coming up, or Lydia has something fun coming up in November that we wanted to tell you about. So we are going to let Lydia, our resident mineral guru, share with us some great info about this amazing mineral. So, hey, Lydia, let's dive right in.
Hey, magnesium is like one of my favorite minerals, and it has been for a long time, and I think it's definitely becoming more well-known about its benefits and the fact that we're all pretty much depleted in it. So probably a lot of you who've been following us are at least familiar with magnesium and its importance, and maybe even already supplementing with it or using the magnesium spray or something like that. But we want to dive into a little more today just because it really is so important, and because I work with clients in hair analysis, I see this deficiency as like one of the biggest problems and the biggest things holding people's health back that needs to be corrected, but it really can take some time. And so, if you have any serious health issues, or not even serious health issues, but health issues that are just not improving, and you haven't looked into the magnesium piece of your health, it's definitely worth taking a look, kind of where you're at, because, I have a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I supplement with magnesium, but they don't really know quite what they're doing with it, and they don't know enough. And they think they're okay. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I take some magnesium, but that's not. That's a little too oversimplified, and there's a lot more to it. So I started taking magnesium myself from information I learned from Ann Louise Gittleman back in 2009. I'd gone through a lot of massive stress in my life, and I really needed the magnesium. And I started supplementing with it back then, and it really started changing my life. But when I got started with hair analysis and I got my first test back, my magnesium was low, very low actually. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was a little bit of a surprise, although it kind of isn't now that I know better why, that's the case. So magnesium is very difficult to rebuild, especially if you live a stressful life, which, I've been a single mom for a long time, running my own business, so I was burning through my magnesium stores like nobody's business. And if I had not been supplementing with magnesium, who knows where I'd be,
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty eye-opening to me at the time. Plus my entire family was very low in magnesium, and it was playing into people's moods and a lot of things. And so I kind of kicked up my approach to magnesium a bit and started learning some things from Dr. Rick Malter, who's a retired school psychologist who teaches some information about hair analysis, as well as Morley Robbins, who has an interesting approach to magnesium as well. And both of them had severe issues with magnesium in their health as well, which led them to further explore it. So anyway, all that said, even somebody as health conscious as myself, who thought, and I was taking the right steps. There was more to do and more to know. So here I am to kind of reiterate the importance of magnesium in a different way today. And I think it might be nice to kind of hear some of the conditions associated with magnesium deficiency.
Absolutely, because I think the last article I read is probably higher than this, but I think that one stated that magnesium is responsible for over like 360 chemical processes in the body. So it's probably higher than that. But yeah, it's pretty critical. So yeah, let's talk about what can manifest if you're deficient in magnesium.
Sure, a lot of stuff. So there's actually levels too, and I forget where I got this information. There's a couple different places that list, the stages of magnesium deficiency, but in general, conditions associated with magnesium deficiency can be hyperactivity. So, ADHD is a big ADHD behavior. Apart from the diagnosis, let's just say the behavior is very common in kids today. So a lot of people are deficient in mag. Noise sensitivity. I had that.
Interesting.
I couldn't stand any noise in the morning and sudden noises, and drove me nuts. Allergies, histamine allergies, that was a big health issue of mine. Hyperthyroidism, even something like seizures and epilepsy. Renal dysfunction, parathyroid dysfunction, colitis, diverticulitis, arteriosclerosis, diabetes, alcoholism, excessive perspiration, and cardiovascular disease are some of the common conditions. Now, if you take a look at kind of like phases of magnesium deficiency, mild daily challenges would just be fatigue, constipation, dizziness, excessive menstrual pain, facial twitches, food cravings, especially sugar, caffeine, and simple carbs, headaches, even hiccups.
Weird.
Hyperglycemia, hypoglycemia, irritability, loss of appetite, mood swings, muscle cramps, spasms, nausea, nervousness, poor memory and concentration. Every pregnancy exacerbates your magnesium deficiency because you give a portion of your minerals to your baby. And then weakness, general weakness. So those are just mild. And then we've got, a greater challenge would be anxiety and panic attacks. Arthritis, asthma, which was the case for me, attention deficit disorder, backache, upper back, and people with excess cortisol too, cystitis, gluten sensitivity, hyperlipidemia, which is, high cholesterol and triglycerides, sinusitis, hypertension, insomnia, insulin resistance or prediabetes, migraines, multiple pregnancies, like we just said, it'll exacerbate your magnesium deficiency every time, nerve problems, obesity, osteopenia, which is the precursor to osteoporosis, PMS, poor concentration, prediabetes, insulin resistance, and TMJ disorder.
Interesting.
Now we get it. Now we got more. There's more. So it gets worse. So if you keep perpetuating this magnesium deficiency, you're not restoring, replacing, and you're burning and burning and burning it away, right? For whatever reason, however, there's various ways. You can then get things like arteriosclerosis, blood clots, bowel disease, mitral valve prolapse, chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic I can never say that. Myalgic encephalomyelitis, sorry. Apologize there. Celiac disease, cerebral palsy, concussion, depression, miscarriage, diabetes, epilepsy, seizures, endothelial dysfunction. It's like a dysfunction of the lining of the blood vessels. Even failure to thrive. Heart arrhythmias, hormonal imbalance, hyperparathyroid, hypothyroid, kidney disease, liver disease, metabolic syndrome, and then, like mitral valve prolapse, or it becomes calcified. Because if you don't have enough magnesium to calcium,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the worst of the problems would be alcoholism, Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, cardiac afibrillation, congestive heart failure. I had a client who was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and she was in her early 30s.
Yeah.
Wow. Eclampsia, myocardial infarction, obesity, renal failure, sudden infant death syndrome, starvation, stroke, sudden cardiac death, ventricular fibrillation. So this is like, a pretty important mineral for our health. And I'm sure everyone can relate to at least one or two or three of those things in there,
Yeah, some of the stuff you mentioned is pretty common nowadays. Like almost everybody alive is going to have at least something off that list, if not 2 or 3 or 4, or some people 10 things. So, yeah, it's very critical.
Yeah, so really magnesium is so important, and anyone could probably take it. You do need to know some things before you just go out and just take a bunch of magnesium, right? So my two favorite ways would be, obviously the hair test is very informative. You've heard me talk about that before, and I pretty much am able to guide my clients. Every single one of them needs magnesium in some form. But to understand it even more clearly, we can do a really simple test, and your doctor can run this for you, or you can even get a simple blood test out of pocket and go to a local lab. It's called the RBC magnesium, red blood cell count of magnesium. Jessica and I both did this recently, and your optimal is between about 6.5 and 7, and when it's below 6, it's low. And guess what mine was? 5.2. I was like, no!
Wow.
And I'm really working on it.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, and just to say, stress will use up your magnesium. So, and the truth is, had I tested it a year ago, I'm sure it would have been much lower, because I've had a lot of symptoms resolve. I don't have asthma symptoms anymore. I don't have a lot of the symptoms I had that correlated with magnesium deficiency. So
right.
I know I'm on the right track, and I just got to be more vigilant at rebuilding that, So
yeah.
But you did yours too.
Yeah, mine was 5.8. So it was actually, I didn't know how to read any of the results when I got them back in, but you said that was okay. There's definitely room for improvement, but it wasn't as low as we expected. So
we got work to do. Yeah, but and one thing I want to point out is you have told me that you've been very good about doing both transdermal magnesium and oral magnesium.
Yeah, and my oral magnesium dose is not as high as it once was, so this may be an indication that I need to boost that back up. But I have, for about the last month or so, been really good about doing about 12 to 15 sprays on my torso, my abdomen, and my legs before bed, and just letting it dry, and I, finish getting ready for bed and everything while I'm letting that soak into my skin. And I also have some magnesium lotion that I bought, and I'm trying to work on a homemade version of the lotion so that I can save a little bit of money, because I have a 6-pound tub of magnesium chloride flakes that I need to go through, so I might as well make some of my own stuff. But yeah, so for about the last 30 days, I've been really vigilant about that. So hopefully that's helping.
Yeah, no, I think it is, and we'll know. We'll probably retest and see what's going on. But that really makes a difference, because we have to realize that we're not assimilating all of the magnesium we take in. We don't get every single itty-bitty bit that we consume either through food or supplement, right? So that's where the transdermal really helps to build it up, because it goes right in and it's not competing with digestion or some people have low stomach acid. They're just not pulling their minerals out, So there's a lot of things that could be making it hard to restore your magnesium levels through food and supplements.
Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that, because I recently, one of the most popular posts on my site is my homemade magnesium oil recipe, and that just posted on Facebook recently, and it always gets a really good discussion going. And there were a lot of people who were saying, I take magnesium supplements, so why would I need to do this? And I did bring up that point that almost everybody has got some sort of digestive dysfunction. So you could be taking a ton of magnesium or a ton of other supplements, but you may not be metabolizing those before they actually move through your system. So with the transdermal form, you're bypassing the digestive process and it's going straight in. So for that, it can, for people that have, really struggle with digestion and maybe are not raising their levels as quickly as possible, the transdermal could maybe be a lifesaver for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to do transdermal magnesium and, make it work for you. And, truth is I do, I personally will go through seasons where if I get real busy, something's going to go by the wayside. So that's what happened for me recently. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to put my spray on or whatever it is. But, you can do this magnesium oil spray. You can do magnesium lotion. You could do chloride flakes in a bath. You could do a foot bath. There's plenty of ways and to get it in and make it work for you. Some people are more sensitive than others to the spray on their skin, and that's why maybe a lotion where it's a little more diluted will work better for them for a time. Epsom salt baths are great, but they're not as good of a way to rebuild your tissue stores because they're more for detox purposes. We're looking at magnesium sulfate, so it has an effect on detox more than it will on rebuilding your tissue store. So that's one method that people are probably more familiar with and may have already been using, but it's not going to be enough to really bring up those tissue stores alone.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're looking for magnesium chloride, not magnesium sulfate like the Epsom salts. The Epsom salts, it's excreted. What is soaked into your body is excreted really, really fast by the kidneys, so it doesn't even have time to really store. But the mag chloride does help build up the stores. So yeah, make sure you're getting the right form. If you want to use the transdermal, you want to look for the chloride flakes.
Yep. Yeah, and so because this is so important and because there's so many people out there that just they're not ready to dive into a hair test or, maybe they want to do some testing but they're not quite there, but they want to do something. So transdermal magnesium is something that pretty much anyone can do without needing a doctor to tell them to do it.
Right.
So I decided to do a transdermal magnesium challenge for the month of November because, anyone can benefit from it, and I personally know I need the reminder sometimes too. So I'm going to host that. So please, look for the link below and click on it so you can sign up and join that. It'll be a daily reminder to do it, ways to do it, recipes, ideas, testimonies, all kinds of cool stuff. So we'd love to have you join us in that challenge.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that because I'm using the mag spray at night, but I want to try to implement doing foot soaks like 2 to 3 times a week. I feel like I love doing the foot soaks. I use the mag chloride flakes in some warm water, and I put some lavender essential oil in there, and it's so relaxing. But for some reason, I have this resistance to doing it. I'm too busy, and I just can't make the time to make a container of water. So I just told myself, I'm like, for November, I am going to do it when I'm working. I'm going to sit at my desk. I'm going to put my feet in some warm water, and I'm going to still work, but I'm going to get my soaks in so that I don't feel like I have to set aside all this extra time to do it. So I'll make room in my schedule to go take 5 minutes to grab my tub of water and my magnesium flakes and do my foot soak.
Seriously. Yeah, it is. And it's like you get too busy, but that's a total sign right there. You need your magnesium. The more you're busy and stressed, the more you're going to burn it up, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're excited about that challenge, so please feel free to join that. And even if you haven't tested, 1 month of transdermal magnesium is probably safe to do. Although I will say, if you can, getting the testing done in some way would be ideal. So you have a marker and you kind of know what you're working on and where you're working towards. So, and that information will be included in the challenge for you, okay? So join anyway, regardless of whether or not you're going to test right away or not, and you'll get some good information.
Yeah, and the RBC test was really affordable. I was surprised at how cheap it was. I can't remember now off the top of my head. It was like $40 or $50.
It's like $50, yeah.
Okay.
And you don't need anybody to interpret it for you. You just need to know it's optimal. You want to be around 6.5 if you can, up to 7. Below 6 is low.
Mm-hmm.
I had two people this week, told me theirs was 1.8.
Wow.
These people do not feel good. They do not feel good at all.
Wow.
Well,
so hopefully they'll partake in the challenge too. And
yeah, well, that's what I told them. I said, your mission is to use your transdermal mag like your life depends on it, because it's very important. So
absolutely.
So another thing I really want to talk about real quick before we wrap up is food sources of magnesium. Our soil has been depleted for a long time, folks. Okay, so we don't have mineral-rich soil. Period. End of discussion. Right? We have to work a lot harder to get our minerals from our food, but there are some really great foods to look at in terms of magnesium content. This is why I'm not a big fan of food restrictive, like cutting out all these different food groups, because we have to think about, some of the sources we're cutting out might have minerals we need, right? So if you can eat more variety, you're going to find more ways to get some good magnesium in. So I have a list I'm going to kind of go through, and you'll see how hard it is to get enough magnesium per day. You ready? And this is if you're pulling it from your food and digesting it, and you kind of want. I should have told you what the RDA of magnesium is, but I almost don't think it's valid, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's really low.
It's really low, and it doesn't take into consideration that everybody is already low in magnesium. So, anyway, so let's say we're shooting for 400 to 600 milligrams a day of magnesium. Let's just kind of use that as our ballpark, okay?
Okay.
So wild rice. 1 cup of wild rice has 52.5 milligrams of magnesium. Of course, that's if it's in the soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to find a good quality wild rice. I love Lundberg is great, and I think Lotus Foods maybe has one. I'm not sure.
I can't remember if they do or not.
But, not everybody eats wild rice. I mean, it's probably not something most people eat. We try to eat it here and there, but we don't eat it that often. I have a really cool recipe on my site called Aiden's Wild Rice and Cashew Salad, and 1 serving is about 200 milligrams of magnesium.
Yes, that recipe looks absolutely divine.
It's really good. My son made a version of it last night. He really loves it.
Nice.
Okay, so that's one option, wild rice. But, again, you're not going to eat that every day, right? Then we've got pumpkin seeds. A 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds is about 190 milligrams of magnesium. I can eat maybe a 1/4 cup in a sitting. I don't typically eat much more than that, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Spinach, a cup of spinach, 156 milligrams of magnesium. Cashews, a 1/4 cup, 116 milligrams. Black-eyed peas. Okay, paleo people, it's time to eat some peas. 1/4 cup, if you tolerate them, right? A 1/4 cup, no, a 1/2 cup is 278 milligrams of magnesium.
Wow.
And they also have a really nice hit of potassium.
Nice.
I love black-eyed peas.
I haven't had black-eyed peas in I don't know how long, but I may get some and cook them on occasion.
Yeah. I have a recipe on the site called Hoppin' John. It's for the pressure cooker.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so good. It's got some good minerals in there.
Awesome.
Beet greens. A cup of beet greens is 98 milligrams. Swiss chard. A cup of Swiss chard is 150 milligrams. Yogurt or kefir. 1 cup, 50 milligrams. 1 square of dark chocolate. Now, this is the good stuff, right? 95 milligrams for 1 little square. Oh, look what I just did. I got everyone happy about chocolate, right?
I know. I can eat chocolate now.
Sesame seeds, a 1/4 cup, 126 milligrams. Almonds, a quarter cup, 61 milligrams. Brown rice, 1 cup, 83 milligrams. Buckwheat, 1 cup, 85 milligrams. Summer squash, 1 cup, 43 milligrams. Quinoa, 3/4 cup, 118 milligrams. Sunflower seeds, quarter cup, 113 milligrams. And navy beans, 1 cup, 96 milligrams. And of course, you have to remember, if this is good quality food raised with pretty good soil, you're going to get these nice minerals from them. So variety is the spice of life. So, if you're not eating a lot of these foods, you may want to pick a few and try to get them in,
Yeah, even just, the black-eyed peas or the quinoa or whatever, maybe just once a week, add them into your rotation, and try to get. I'm gonna make a note of myself to kind of incorporate some more of that stuff. I have the raw sprouted pumpkin seeds in the freezer, and I always forget to eat them. So those would be great.
Yeah, so I have, so what if we had a cool recipe with, which I do, I just haven't posted it, salted chocolate pumpkin seed bark.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's nice, nice
Good
little
minerals from the salt and minerals from the chocolate and the seeds. I think people would love that.
Yeah, and I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that if you tolerate it, and nobody's going to say, I don't sit down and eat this ginormous amount because it's really rich and it's nice. It's a nice snack and treat, and hey, it's got minerals. So yeah,
you could even use that recipe and probably make them in the little silicone molds or like an ice cube tray, and then you just have one piece, so you have your little individual serving. I find for some reason I can make the bark and stuff like that, and if I make it in bark format where it's just broken up chunks, I feel like I eat more of that than if I have them actually individually portioned into I have the round ones that I make for like peanut butter cups and stuff like that for the husband.
Okay.
So if I just make that, then I feel like I don't know, it must be a psychological thing, but yeah, it's enough for me to feel like I'm having a treat and something delectable, but not enough where I'm sitting down and eating the entire pan of bark.
Right. Well, and then, so
Awesome.
yeah, so I have a couple recipes on my site. I'll throw the links in. I have a buckwheat cereal recipe that we do sometimes. So sometimes people forget about these pseudo grains. Buckwheat and wild rice and some quinoa and brown rice and things. So if your digestion is getting stronger and you can tolerate these foods and they're not a problem for you, by all means try to get them in there and get that variety in. Magnesium needs cofactors. We're going to talk about that in the challenge. So, I'd love to have you join. I mean, we need B6 to help the magnesium get inside the cell, and there's other minerals like boron. We need the boron to help the magnesium stay in the cell. Different things like that. So, there's going to be some good information you can learn from this challenge in addition to trying to, feel better and get some magnesium built up in your body.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Well, I think we were going to make this one a short and sweet episode this week, and we're probably going to do some more podcasts on magnesium in the future, maybe getting into some more of the nitty-gritty and stuff, but we wanted to kind of give you a quick overview about magnesium and why it's so important and how you can start trying to get more into your diet, and then let you know also about November's magnesium challenge. So hopefully you guys will come and join us. Well, I say us, but I'm going to be participating. Lydia's the one running it. I'm not taking credit for that idea. But hopefully you'll come join all of us over in the Facebook group, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So anyways.
Yeah, so
awesome.
In order to join the challenge, you want to join my Healing with Mineral Analysis Facebook group. Check out the link below. You can join anytime. You can stick around even after the challenge. We're going to be in there talking about minerals for as long as I can think. And so we'd love to have you. And that's it.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But if you have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to let us know. If this information resonated with you and you know others who could benefit from it as well, we would love it if you would share it. We'd also be so appreciative if you could leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. If you're on our sites or YouTube listening to this, we'll have links down below where you can leave the reviews. It only takes a couple of minutes, and not even a couple of minutes, probably just 1 minute. Super easy to do. And whenever you leave us a review or you share a podcast or a blog post, it really helps us reach more people with our message of health and wellness. So we really, truly appreciate it, because both of us are really focused on helping people live a better, healthier, more vibrant life. So, and if you're looking for more information on natural living or health and wellness, need some recipes, make sure you check out our sites. You can find me over at deliciousobsessions.com. And you can find Lydia at divinehealthfromtheinsideout.com. So we are going to sign off. We hope you guys have a great day.